Good morning. Today is Wednesday, March 18th. For the Ways and Means Committee, 9 a.m. And we are looking at H 928, an act relating to technical corrections to Fish and Wildlife statutes. And Bradley, would you like to join us?
Yes, I would.
Thank you. And folks, just so I don't spoil the source, so I am spoiling the surprise. I don't know. We already have an amendment for it. It's so exciting.
Awesome.
Yes.
Bradley Showman, Office of Legislative Counsel, and I'll be sharing an amendment for,
I think we need to know what the original is, too, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
yes, so I will be sharing the original bill and the amendment. And pull up the original bill.
And folks, when I sort of bring an amendment along with the original bill, it is not because I'm trying to get in front of anyone. It's because we are in the air traffic control portion of the legislative session. And so if we are going to be able to pass all the bills we need to pass this week, we need to really sort of have amendments often the first time we look at them. And that's why I'm really asking folks to be looking ahead at the bills that are coming over from the committees you're liaison to. Really turning into a broken record. Bradley. Floor is yours.
Great. And so I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to share my entire screen, which means I'm going to close my email really quick, just to not avoid the pop-ups. My desktop is eating files today and it's not great. Okay, so H 928 is a committee bill from the House Environment. And this bill sets out to change the licensing fees for excuse me, not licensing fees, penalties for violations of various hunting regulations that are set forth in Title 10A. It's a curious title because that title is created by rulemaking for the Department of Fish and Wildlife. But we're coming in to make changes to the penalties. And so so this statute, the penalties themselves are in Title 10, and the various rules regarding hunting and hunting activities are in Title 10A. We're amending Title 10, which are the penalties. The legislature sets the penalties in consultation with the Department of Fish and Wildlife. And so that's what this bill does. And so this bill changes a number of the penalties from different point violations. We are on H 29 as introduced on page 1. I'm scrolling down to page 2. And so this bill would just change certain penalties. For example, this first one here, gun suppressors are no longer unlawful based on a bill passed in the last few years. So this is being changed. It's no longer a violation to use a suppressor because suppressors are no longer unlawful. There are other changes to various activities related to hunting in this piece. I'm happy to go through these penalties and hunting penalties and things of that sort. I think the committee might be, if the committee is interested in that, the committee might be more interested in the other pieces down here.
I don't think we need to unless.
Okay, thank you. And so section 2, just gives the Department of Fish and Wildlife the authorization. It states that all annual licenses shall expire on December 31st of the year for which they're issued. Under current law, this section would give the Department of Fish and Wildlife the option to have 365 days after the date the license is issued. So license could be good for an entire calendar year as opposed to just expiring on December 31st if you bought it in September or something of that sort. And then the license fee section, and this is a section that we have an amendment to, so I'll show you the text as it exists, and then we'll look at the amendment. So these are just an example of the licensing fees that are in current statute. And we'll see big game licenses, and then the big game tags here. And this is as passed by the House Environment. If the board determines it is necessary to issue or require additional big game tags or big game permits that are not otherwise identified in this section, the department may issue such tags and permits and may assess a fee for such tags and permits of not more than the prevailing rate for big game tags. And so the issue is that the department sometimes issues an additional tag for hunting big game. Instead of 1 turkey, you might be able to have a tag for 2 turkeys. And right now, if they issue an additional tag, they can't charge for it. And then so they want to be able to charge for it. And so this would give them the authorization to issue a big game tag for one that's not identified in the statute, and then charge a prevailing rate for a big game tag.
Yeah, sorry.
So if I could interject here, I believe this is for, they're allowing you to hunt doe during the regular rifle season. And if you do so, there's a process for obtaining a second buck tag. So this is what that would in reference, as far as they set a fee for that second buck tag.
I don't know if it's because I've heard turkeys when they've talked about it with me with the specific animal. I can't tell you which of the specific animal provided the impetus for this, but I think the idea is the same.
Okay.
If they want to issue an additional tag for a big game animal, they want to have the authority to do that and to charge for it.
So my understanding is that they issued and I did not hear turkeys, I heard does.
Okay.
But it could be it might be all the animals, I have no idea. Was that when they issued the new tag this fall without authorization, they had to issue it for free. And they didn't want to do that.
Okay, good, because that's what I've been hearing.
Okay,
so
great,
it's
okay.
gonna take care of that.
Yes, and then I have the amendment that I have just sort of tightens it slightly.
Yep, thanks.
And so this is the amendment. So we are on draft 1.1 of the amendments. And this just amends section 3, which we just discussed. And we are on page 2 of that amendment. And so this adds some more language, but it also kind of tightens that authority to give more legislative oversight. And so if the board determines that it is necessary to issue or require additional big game tags or big game permits that are not otherwise identified in this section, the department may issue such tags and permits and may assess a provisional fee for such tags and permits of not more than the lowest fee for a big game tag as provided in subsection A. So it sets a more specific dollar amount. And the department shall seek legislative approval of the provisional fee pursuant to 32 VSA 603 within 1 year following the department's assessment of the fee. So it requires the department to come back and put that fee into statute, or request that the fee be put into statute. And then the department's failure to obtain legislative approval of the provisional fee shall void the provisional fee, and the department shall not assess a new provisional fee for the same big game tag or big game permit. And so if the department fails to get the tag into law, they can't just simply turn around and issue a new one, just kind of like over and over again. They would have to get authorization the first time, and then that's it if they don't get the authorization in statute.
And what I was sort of thinking of, OPR a few years ago rolled out what they called the early bird special for like all new licenses. And I was thinking about it this way. So the first time a tag is issued, it's the lowest fee possible, but there's still a fee. And then they come to us and the fee can go up however they want it to.
So can I just ask a question? I'm still trying to understand this 100%. So if I get a tag for deer hunting, for large deer hunting, I'm limited to the number of tags that I can get a license for, that I can purchase.
That's correct, yeah.
So if it's just one tag for the season, But then you're saying if I go into doe season, I can take a doe, but then I lose my tag, so I need to get another tag. So I'm trying to, how does this work?
Yeah, go ahead.
So this has been talked about, and it's what they're gonna do. It's been put out there for the general public already, that they want more doe shot during the regular rifle season, which hasn't happened before. Been the doe season
Right.
for archery, early muzzle loader tags during the late muzzle loader season. So now you're gonna be able to hunt doe during the regular season. So to do that, to incentivize that, okay, if you get a doe and you also get a buck, and there's a point limitation there too, or whatever.
Yeah.
You can get a second buck tag, which has never happened before. It's incentivizing people to get the doe, to bring the herd down in certain areas. So again, there's that second tag that you don't want to pay for it in advance, right? Because
You don't know if you're gonna get
you
one.
don't know if you're gonna get one. So that's my understanding of this second buck tag that they're looking to be able to charge a fee for. You want another buck tag once you get the doe and your original buck? Then you gotta pay this extra fee to get that.
So without going into the weeds too much, but practically speaking, you're hunting, you get a doe and you get a buck.
Yeah,
Bring them both to the weigh station, you have to go inside and buy another tag.
right. And I mean, it can happen. That's the question that I asked at the time was how long
Yeah,
before you, right, turn in your deer, can you get another tag?
Yeah.
And they said pretty much instantly. Yeah.
okay, all right.
How many tags? Yeah.
I don't know the total tags. It's,
Do you have an answer?
I don't have an answer. I think it does vary between animal, but I don't have a specific answer to that.
Yeah.
If folks want to follow up with Fish and Wildlife offline to get all of their, does that feel okay?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
And that's it. And the yeah, and so that is it.
Great, thanks. Any other questions for Bradley? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Ed.
Good morning, committee. Ted Barnett, Joint Fiscal Office. I will share my screen so you can have, but they're simply some words that'll just be bigger and behind me. Broadly speaking, we're estimating that the bill would have minimal positive impacts to license fee revenues. This is reflective of the as introduced version, but it's not incorporating the estimate is the same regardless of the amendment or the underlying as introduced version. Some of the mechanics are slightly different. And so the positive impact of fee revenues would flow to the Fish and Wildlife Fund for the provision that would allow give the Department of Fish and Wildlife the discretion to change fees from expiring on December 31st and move that to a 365-day license. They're envisioning potentially a very modest positive impact. What they're seeing the most likely case of that is for fishing licenses. They would potentially make this adjustment in folks who are, visiting in the fall. They're saying, oh, if the license expires on December 31, I'm going to get a 2-day permit. But if it's valid for longer, they may decide to get the annual permit. So that's the main impact they see there. And to note, this is not a change they're envisioning implementing in the near term. It's likely a year or so out. So it wouldn't impact anything in fiscal year 27. The additional big game tags would also increase license fee revenue. We're also seeing this as minimal. Emailed a bit with the department. They provided an estimate that if they were able to charge for that second buck tag y'all have been talking about and charge non-residents $30 and residents $15, it would generate $18,000 in revenue. So relatively minimal within the context of the Fish and Wildlife Fund. And I will note that as in the as introduced version, we wouldn't know how many types of tags and the number sold, but given that there's now this process, or if you all adopt the amendment of a kind of check-in, we would be providing you all with updates as they implement big game tags.
Sure, yeah, sorry.
No.
go ahead.
Well, so there's a doe season. Correct?
I am not the hunting expert by any stretch of the
That's
imagination.
Higley could answer
Let's do TED questions first and then we'll
Okay,
get
sorry.
Higley questions.
Question actually may be a legis council question. I know the difference between a fish and a buck. Where does big game start?
That's also not a TED question.
I do
Oh, do
have
you? Great.
an official note. In statute, there are 6 big game licenses. There's an archery, muzzleloader, turkey, moose, bear, and an additional deer archery big game tags. Those are the ones that I pulled out of statute. Yes, it sounds like there's a second buck and potentially for does that, folks are talking about here, but that's what's in statute.
So the definition of big game is as described in statute more than species.
Those big game tags are outlined in statute. Yep.
I got it. Thank you, Ted.
Mhm.
Love how curious, maybe after crossover, we can all get a lesson in how hunting licenses work. Anyone, any other questions for Ted?
I will join for that. Yeah.
Thank you, Ted.
Good thing.
Bill, do you want to ask?
Representative Higley.
I don't know, it's up to you.
Bradley.
Do you want me to come out?
No, you can just say
No,
that.
yeah. So there's a doe season, right? So you get a doe tag, but you pay for it. So if I'm hunting and I don't get a doe, can I use that tag during the rifle season that we're talking about?
I don't know for 100% positive. Off the cuff, I don't think you can, but I don't know with 100% certainty about that.
The bill was unanimous out of environment, thank you, but I don't know who was absent. Yeah, the motion to amend would be delightful, unless does anyone need anything before we move forward? Mark, you look like you're thinking about words.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the wording that we've changed. I believe we've changed it in the wording in here. Where they have to come back before they change it again, correct? I mean, we have
Like a
to,
1-year provisional.
right,
Yeah.
right. But that doesn't mean they can't come back and change that new fee. They just need to make sure they come back. Okay. All right. Yeah. And then if this helps, and again, this is AI, so I'm not 100% sure.
Oh, gosh. Is everyone doing it these days?
Everybody.
Sorry, continue.
No.
Ugh.
So it's 4 deer, but it's pretty complicated when it comes down to it. And as far as that, Earn a Buck program, if you purchase that second buck tag after you have already
Earn a
reported,
buck?
what's that?
It's called Earn a Buck.
Earn a Buck. I didn't even realize that, so.
I mean, maybe we don't even know if it's true.
But anyway, that you've already reported an antlerless deer, like I said, in that current year. And your first buck had at least an antler with 3 or more points. I told you there was a point restriction there. They want you to take the bigger bucks first. So that's part of the provision too, for you to get that second license,
You have to let the small bucks pass,
first time.
pass the buck.
Passing the buck, that's, yeah.
Pass the buck.
Representative Maslin, I think you were gonna say something about our amendment to H 928.
Yeah. And there are amendments, there's, as we were stating,
It is a Ways and Means Amendment.
I move that we vote favorably on the Ways and Means Amendment to this bill.
Thank you, draft 1.1. Representative Maslin moves that we amend H 928 with draft 1.1 of the committee amendments.
Second.
Representative Canfield seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, if the clerk could please call the roll. Thank you.
Representative Brannigan is absent. I'll vote yes as Representative Burkhart, Representative Higley,
Yes.
Representative Holcomb.
Yes.
Representative Kimball,
Yes.
Representative Maslin.
Yeah.
Representative Odie. Representative Page.
Yes.
Representative Wazazak.
Yes.
Representative Canfield
Yes.
and Representative Kornheiser.
Yes.
We voted the amendment favorable 10-0-1.
Thank you.
Now we vote the bill out. I move that we, vote the bill favorably as amended in this committee.
Representative Maslin moves that we find H 928 favorable as amended.
Second.
Representative Canfield seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll. Thank you.
Representative Brannigan is absent. I'll vote yes as Representative Burkhart, Representative Higley,
Yes.
Representative Holcomb. Yes. Representative Kimball,
Yes.
Representative Maslin.
Yeah.
Representative Odie. Yes. Representative Page,
Yes.
Representative Wazazak.
Yes.
Representative Canfield,
Yes.
Representative Kornheiser.
Yes.
We have voted the bill favorable as amended 10-0-1.
Thank you.
Do you
Have a name? Oh. Okay.
Sure. Absolutely.
Thanks. That was Charlie for anyone watching at home. Really clear from the report. Cool. Thank you, everyone.
9:30.
Scott, what do you think about going before Ellen?
I'm happy to.
Okay, the bill's not like so confusing. Great.
Relatively simple, especially from this one.
Great. Thank you, Scott. Nice to see you.
Yeah, relatively. Oh,
That's the spirit train.
I'm simple.
Morning, committee. For the record, Scott Moore, Joint Fiscal Office. Ellen, I'm sure will go through a walkthrough of the entire bill in terms of what it does, but the fiscal impact of this, realistically, what it says is they would no longer require permits for logging underneath elevation of 2,500 feet. In theory, there's no permits needed. There would be no fees associated with those permits, so therefore there would be potentially a loss of income to the state. I spoke with Ellen. I also spoke with the Commissioner for Forest Parks and Rec, and she assured me that this exemption has existed for decades. And what this bill, that part does is just basically codify it into law and does a parity with how agriculture and farming is also addressed in statute. So therefore, I'm happy to report there's nothing to report.
So we've been doing this already. It just wasn't in statute.
Correct.
Feel so uncomfortable with that, but I'm pleased there's no revenue impact to the state. Representative Maslin.
Question for you, Scott, or not, but this is a 40-acre permit or is it related or
What I
not?
looked at was just the timber industry for forestry under the elevation of 2,500 feet. I don't know about the 40 acres per
It's an
se.
actually 50 permit.
Yes.
Oh, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, because there's a different permit, I think, recollection is for logging over 40 acres. Yeah. There was a different check-in or for
Yeah, but for this, it was
good
um,
reason.
for Act 50, and the commissioner's specific language just says that, looking quickly to see if they have about 40 acres, Commissioner Fitzko emailed me and said this exemption has existed for decades. This language just clarifies the provision while providing parity with the language applied to agriculture and farming. So
Okay.
there's nothing in there we need to worry about.
Everything's going well, then
Yeah,
don't fix it.
yeah, basically, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
That's really more an administrative question. Is there going to be a fiscal note saying that, or are we just okay with
I
that?
hadn't planned on writing anything, but I'm happy to send you a blank piece of template.
No, it's fine.
Fiscal notes. That's an administrative question for whoever's going to end up reporting the bill or what they need to say. So it's fine.
It's fine. Thank you. Any other questions for Scott?
I think I'll ask Ellen when she's here.
Okay,
Perfect timing.
thanks. Thank you,
Wow.
Scott, so much for your service.
Very well.
Ellen, would you like to join us? We went in reverse order.
Anything else from you guys? Jamie?
No, thank you so much.
I think it's that.
Check Gaps Legislative Council. Hello,
Nice to see you. It's been a while.
it has, hello everyone, page 932. The regulation of forestry under Act 250. The Act 181 of 2024, the big bill asked for multiple reports back from the Land Use Review Board. And one of those reports was how to support the wood products manufacturing and forestry industry. And this bill reflects two of the recommendations from this report, which largely clarifies existing law. So since 1970, forestry and agriculture below 2,500 feet have been exempt from Act 250. There are a couple other specific provisions in Act 250 laying out all of the details of the exemption for farming. And those details are also true of forestry and logging. And so this bill adds language that largely mirrors what's already in statute for exempt farming, but also for forestry. It also restores logging and pulp concentration yards to exempt status because they had been considered exempt as part of the logging process. But in 2022, when the statute was updated, they were included under the definition of wood products manufacturers, which do require a permit. So the section that changes that restores what was previously the law. So section 1 amends 6001, the definition section of Act 250, where the jurisdictional triggers are. And the language in subdivision 6, C6, states what is already true, that forestry is exempt, but it does not include the conversion of land for non-exempt uses. So while forestry itself is exempt, if you're clearing a site for a commercial development, that is not an exempt use of forestry. And then subdivision F in section 1 is kind of the inverse of the change that's also in section 2. So on a parcel that does not yet have an Act 250 permit, because it is devoted to log forestry, which is exempt, only those portions of the parcel that support a development, a commercial development, will be subject to regulation under Act 250. So this is about internally sort of dividing the parcel into what is still exempt and what could be covered by the Act 250. Generally, under Act 250, when there is a development, the permit is to the entire parcel. But for these exempt activities, if something is going to happen on there, like a commercial enterprise that is not exempt, the permit will only attach to the portion of that parcel that is doing something not exempt from Act 250. And section 2 covers the inverse of that situation where there's already an Act 250 permit on the site, but an exempt activity is going to take place. They do not need a permit amendment to do that. That's the high level version. Yeah.
Yeah. Second part of what you said, a non-exempt, no, an exempt part on the exempt. Is there any paperwork that goes back and forth just to codify that or make note of the fact that I'm doing something on a property so that there's a record of what's proposed and what happens?
So what has been added here is that permits shall include a statement that any logging and forestry activities consistent with this are exempt from needing a permit. And so they're going to be a little more affirmative now in telling landowners that if they're going to undertake logging and forestry, they will not need to get their permit updated. But this is creating a situation where they don't have to go get permission to do that. They still, a landowner still could ask permission just to be safe and clear. They could ask the district coordinator if they're still covered. But this is setting up that they won't have to do that.
Thank you. That's a good answer.
Could this be retroactive? So in the case of a large parcel of say 100 acres, and there was something that triggered Act 250 and 10 acres of it. And right now that entire 100-acre parcel is subject to Act 250. If anything occurs on that parcel, it's subject to the underlying Act 250 permit. is it possible to then separate to say, this is the part that's only developed, this 10-acre parcel, so the 90 is not subject to Act 250? It's almost kind of extinguishing the permit on the area that's not involved in the development.
So that process already exists. It's in Rule 34 of the Act 250 rules. Anyone currently can actually apply for that type of amendment, but it has to be specific to these exempt uses like forestry and logging.
So like trails, it's not necessarily.
Those are not exempt.
Or do, okay. So is it possible then to go back and say, because trails wouldn't necessarily trigger an Act 250? Never mind. Okay, thank you. Yeah.
What was the committee vote?
I don't know.
It was unanimous, but I don't know if it was available. I don't. Any other questions for Ellen? Yes.
I'm just curious, anything above 2,500, you have to have a permit, assuming.
For logging and forestry, yes.
So I know Act 250 is Act 250 and there's all the Act 250 things. This bill narrowly puts existing practice into statute.
Yes.
Thank you. And has no discernible impact to the state revenues because of that. Okay, thank you, Ellen. Does anyone need anything else before we move towards the vote?
Seeing none, Madam Chair, I would move that we find H 932 favorable.
Representative Kimball moves that we find 932 favorable. Representative Wozniak seconds. Any committee discussion? Being none, if the clerk could please call the roll. Thank you.
Representative Brannigan is absent. I'll vote yes. As Representative Burkhart, Representative Higley,
Yes.
Representative Holcomb, Representative Kimball,
Yes.
Representative Maslin.
Yep.
Representative Odie. Yes. Representative Page.
Yes.
Representative Wazazat.
Yes.
Representative Canfield
Yes.
and Representative Kornheiser.
Yes.
We have voted the bill favorable 10-0-1.
Thank you, everyone.
Fine.
Okay,
Like,
want me to take it? I don't, but
It's very easy. Over report.
okay. Kimball is going to report. Thank you, everyone. We are flying.
I said 9:45.
Cool, we're gonna take a 5-minute break. I'm gonna call it a 7-minute break. That's work.